Commanders Eagles, Volume 3. Third time we've seen this story. Sunday, 3 p.m. in Philly. Philly's 6.5-point favorites, over under a high 47.5 points. I'm not sure we've seen that total for Philly in a while, let's just say, with the way their defense has been playing and kind of with the way their offense has been playing. But what matchup? We're going to highlight two matchups for each of these games that we're honing in on. What's the biggest one for you in this one?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to be the Eagles front seven versus that Commanders offensive line. We know that Jaden Daniels is a superhero. All things are possible through Jaden Daniels. But at the end of the day, if you're not slowing these guys down with the front seven of this Philadelphia Eagles team, Jaden Daniels is going to be asked to do even more heroic things. And while I think he's capable of it, I think it's important to be able to establish a ground game, have Jaden keep some of them, run the football with your running backs, effectively control the line of scrimmage. But that's a really tough ask against this Eagles front, and they've been coming on lately. They've been swelling up defensively, particularly up front. I think about the edges, guys like Nolan Smith and then Jalen Carter on the inside driving people crazy. We've got Cosme, got the ACL versus the Lions. And it's just going to be, that's really where the rubber will meet the road for this Commanders team, is against this front. And not only in talent, but the physicality with which the Philadelphia Eagles play and have played for a long time will be, in my opinion, the big matchup in this football game.
Yeah, I mean, the past 2 weeks with the Eagles, their run defense hasn't been amazing. Now, last week you maybe throw out the snow. It's difficult. That makes things tough on the defensive line with your footing being challenged. But against the Packers even, I mean, they gave up over 100 on the ground, almost 5 yards per carry in that game. It was their strength during the course of the regular season, but they are susceptible. The big matchup, though, to me is Sam Cosme. Tore his ACL last week against the Detroit Lions. Thank God the guy signed his contract back in September, because he would have been an impending free agent. So we already got his money. That, unfortunately, could go into next year now with the timing of it. But he's their best offensive lineman. Right guard for the Washington Commanders. Far and away their best one. And not only
I like Biotish too a lot.
Biotish is good. But Cosme, in the two matchups against the Eagles previously, he shut down Jalen Carter. Not like completely shut down, but he handled him. Not a lot of guys can. He only allowed 2 pressures in those 2 games combined. And that's how you were able to pull off that upset, right? Is that you did not allow Jalen Carter in the big moments to take over that football game the way, he did a week ago, right? Like, he's a guy that, may not be given 100% every single snap. He's not a guy that may show up in lesser games, but when the lights turn bright, when they need to have a play, he's the guy that's there. And so now you go from him to Trent Scott, Sam Cosme to Trent Scott. It's like, do I trust Trent Scott to handle Jalen Carter on a 3rd and 8 in crunch time? I just don't, man. Unfortunately, I don't. And so, yes, the Eagles are down guys themselves. No Nakobe Dean, obviously, with his injury suffered against the Packers. But that's nowhere near as impactful as what Cosme could mean. Not having Cosme.
Can the Commanders swell up? And, sometimes you see a frog in the forest on one of these Planet Earth shows, and there's like a snake coming over to eat it. And then the frog suddenly like hulks out for a minute, and you see it gets bigger. It turns red. Like, I need that Commanders front turn red and get some thorns and get some spikes, because I know how this Eagles team plays. I want to see how this Commanders team responds, or do they punch them in the mouth early? That's going to be a big one. I think the other matchup, Mike, that I'm looking for in this football game is the Commanders' defensive ability to put a cap on that Eagles offense on 1st and 2nd down. Get them into 3rd and 5, get them into 3rd and 6 plus, and find out what that Eagles offense has to offer. Obviously, they can protect Jalen Hurts, but the only real question mark we have, and it's not even really a bold question mark, is that Jalen Hurts and this passing game are not always in sync. So if I'm going to be, putting my money on anything, I would say Saquon Barkley can get it done on 3rd and 2, on 2nd and 2. So get them out of those situations, force this Eagles offense to throw the football around. And also, I'm reading this research packet that they put together at CBS. 4 of the top 5 teams in 4th down conversion percentage this season made the conference championship game. So when we talk about the over in this game, or the line for this game, It makes a lot of sense because these are teams that aren't out there punting. They're not out there kicking field goals. They're going to try to get their first downs because they're confident in their units. They're confident in their quarterbacks. And in Philadelphia's case, they're very confident in Saquon Barkley.
Yes, and I think it's really shown the success of, the Bills and their ability in short yardage, the Eagles and everyone knows their ability in short yardage, and the Commanders, how much you just have to have plans for 3rd and 2s, 4th and 2s, 4th and 3s, things of that nature, 4th and 1s, and have to just be money on them. Like you have to, as an offense coordinator, as an offense in today's NFL, those have to just be like automatic. Just no thought, go out there, the plan, go execute. And you just have to have that in today's NFL, or else you're falling behind because
the
Commanders are automatic in those situations. Philly's automatic. Buffalo's automatic. It's just like that.
Kansas City's got a gadget somewhere, and I think Kansas City might be the one that's not top 4. I think they're probably number 5. I'd have to look at this. But the stat is 4 of the top 5 teams in 4th down conversion percentage, and it makes sense. You watch a team with a guy like Jaden Daniels at the quarterback position, you get a +1 blocker in those running situations. You give him options. With Josh Allen, you get to see him out on the edge. You see that quarterback sweep power looking thing where they pull 2 offensive linemen out front. This is a real thing. Jalen Hurts is, squatting 800 pounds. He's looking for contact. These are great matchups and huge downs in these games.
Because the other thing that does is that, say it's a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 9, 3rd and long, you can run routes short of the sticks. You don't have to. Most defenses have their corners play the sticks, right? They have them play at the sticks. So if you run it 3 yards short of the sticks, you can run those routes, complete those easily, and then give yourself that automatic 4th down.
2.
So it opens things up as a play caller, and then you also open it up to double moves because if you're running a lot of yards short of the sticks, well, then they start to come up and they start to know that, and then they start to creep up, and then
guys start to drive on those footballs.
100%. So this Commanders run defense, though, I am worried about. I'm worried about their offensive line, and I'm also worried about their run defense because this was the 6th worst run defense in the NFL during the regular season. And last week against Detroit, they gave up 201 yards on 23 carries. We talked about how bad Detroit's defense was in that game, and it was. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but the Commanders were getting rolled up on. And even if you take away the 61-yarder from Jamison Williams, that's still 140 yards on 22 carries. Your run defense was still getting shredded. So that's a worry to me. They're not coming into this game, having turned that around. It's just their offense was a house. So
quite frankly, I don't care if the 85 Bears roll out there against this Philadelphia Eagles front on the offensive line. They are going to come into the game with a plan to run the football. They're going to ride that big old ox, Saquon Barkley, and they're going to do it behind Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson on the backside double team, and it's going to be beautiful. And when Lane Johnson gets the opportunity to stretch a defensive end out by the hash, he's looking to take people for rides, and Saquon has been incredible. So to your point, I mean, the Commanders present some issues, or the Commanders defense presents issues for the Commanders, particularly their run defense, but in conjunction with the fact that we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're talking about this offensive line, and we're talking about Saquon Barkley, the question marks about their passing game in Philadelphia. We know what they're going to lean on. It's like going to fight Mike Tyson. Can you survive? You know what's coming.
Let's get some picks. I'm going Eagles, and Eagles to cover. And on that over-under 47.5, I think I'm just punting. I want to see an over, but with the Eagles, you never know. What do you got?
I'm going to take the over, and I think the Washington Commanders cover, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles win.